So what can I tell you about cleaning windows in the winter time? I work in Canberra and I work throughout the winter, and this winter in fact has been particularly cold. I mean, there have been many minus temperatures, and then the wind chill factor has even dragged that temperature even lower, so it's been extremely cold. And one tactic, and I always like to start at 8 and sometimes even 7 if I need the extra time to get the jobs done, because of course the days are shorter. So one tactic has been, especially when I start in the morning, to start inside where it isn't cold. But there are days such as today when I don't have that choice. At this house, I'm only cleaning the external windows, and I actually did come at 7:30. It's about 10:30 now, so I've been working for a few hours. So I didn't have the choice of rugging up. Working inside to start with. Of course, I was still able to rug up. I've got 5 layers on. So I simply just had to push myself through that first very cold period. My hands really felt like ice. I did use boiling water in the bucket. That certainly helped. And the best approach is really to start with the easier windows. Don't get on the ladder at that time if it's freezing cold. Just start with the easy windows. Customer has come through with the flat white, so that'll help warm me up. But it's getting the sun's coming out now, and it's that tricky period is past. So I suppose if you rug up enough, use boiling water. Start with the easy windows. You can push yourself through that initial freezing cold period in the morning, and then it actually gets easier. I mean, people often think that the most difficult time to clean windows is in the winter time, and the most common reason for someone wanting to cancel the window cleaning is because there was forecast for rain. They don't realise that it actually, in many ways, in some ways it's the opposite. The most difficult time to clean windows is the summertime, in the heat of summer. There's the impact of the heat, just on yourself, on your body, the need to drink lots and lots of water, the need to protect yourself from the sun, the fact that the heat builds during the day, which is the opposite of wintertime, where the cold disappears, lowers, and the heat, you need the heat to build during the day to escape the cold. But in the summer, the heat builds during the day, and it's worst in the afternoon. And of course, when the sun is on the windows themselves, it's harder to clean the windows because of that. And you may have seen or may see some of my videos where I discuss techniques to sort of get around that situation. But in my mind, the most difficult time to clean windows really is in the summertime, not the winter time. And of course the days are longer, so there's more time to work, which can mean, and of course the work work expands to fill the time available for its completion, and that's longer in the summer, and so you can overdo it in the summertime also. It's a bit harder to overdo it in the winter time. So really, winter is not, and this is a cold place. Canberra's a cold place. So, I mean, if I wanted to describe ideal conditions for cleaning windows, it would probably be an autumn or spring day where the sun is shining, but I'm working in the shade. That would be the ideal day, the ideal conditions to clean windows. Even summertime, if you perhaps, during the morning, if you're working in the shade and it's not too hot. Anyway, I've done the difficult stuff here at this house, so I've got a few high windows to do and a few that are easy, so I'll get on with the job. Now, something I probably didn't emphasize enough when I was speaking a few moments ago is that in the winter time, you can sort of neutralize, as I was indicating, you can work against the cold by putting on more layers. As I said, I've got 5 layers. Got thick socks, I've got a beanie, I've got a hood behind it if I need it. And later today I'll probably be taking some of these layers off. So you can neutralize the cold. In summer it's very hard to do that. I mean, it's not like you can take more layers off. You can drink water, you can do that. You can try and stay in the shade, and sometimes there may be limits to the extent to which you can do that. So it's not the same. You can't neutralize the heat in the summer the same way you can neutralize the cold in the winter. So anyway, I hope that gives you some reassurance if you're planning to be a window cleaner and you're worried about whether or not you can work in the winter time. And I've always had customers in the winter time, always. I mean, there are some customers, firstly there are customers that have me twice a year, winter and the summer. Those pre-Christmas customers, if they're 6 monthly, then they'll get me in the June, July, in the middle of the year. So if you build up enough customers that you've got lots of 6 monthly customers, then you'll fill up. You'll get work in the winter time. And also in the winter time, something that's different about the winter time, that's significant for window cleaning, is that the fact that the sun follows a different path. It doesn't sort of go up high, it follows a different path, a lower path. It doesn't reach that height. It means that for some people, it is only during the winter time that they can see how dirty the windows are, because it's only during the winter time that the sun is actually on some of the windows. In the summertime, it's too high to be on the windows. It bypasses the windows. So it is only, for many people, it is only in the winter that they notice that the windows are dirty and feel prompted to get the windows cleaned. Of course, there are all sorts of customers, but there are plenty of winter customers. And of course, the fact that the days are shorter means that you need less work to stay busy as well. You won't be able to serve as many customers anyway, because you won't have the hours of daylight. And often you're rushed to get things done before dark. Problem you don't get in the summertime, because there's plenty of hours left over at the end of the day, during which you probably won't want to work, but you will be able to use in situations where you need to, because the job has turned out to be bigger than you anticipated. So I hope I provided some food for thought. How do you clean windows in wintertime? Does it make any difference? I'll explain. Apart from the obvious, the fact that you put on several layers, maybe wear something like this, the truth is that cleaning windows in the wintertime is not all that much different to any other time of year. You use the basic method, the basic sequence of steps is exactly the same. However, there are a few things that you will find that are different in the wintertime. And so the first thing, one thing is that this is, of course, is the washer that you use to scrub the window with. Now, if you've seen any of my videos of cleaning windows during the summertime, you'll see that, and especially when the sun is on the window, you may have noticed that sometimes I have to dunk this several times just to clean the one window. And the sun makes it very difficult to keep the window wet. In the winter, it's kind of the opposite. You may only have to dunk this in your bucket once, and that's enough to clean maybe even half a house. I've already cleaned quite a number of windows in this house already, and I've only dunked this once, and I'm going to keep cleaning more windows without having to dunk it again. So that can actually save you time. However, there are other things that follow from the fact that it's easy to keep things wet. I mean, In the winter, you go through a lot more of these because they get wet and they stay wet. Whereas in the summertime, you can even, after using a few, they don't get wet as fast because the water on them is evaporating without you even realizing it. And secondly, you can stick them out, the ones that you have wet, as long as they're not dirty and they're just wet, you can stick them out in the sun and they'll be dry in a few minutes and you can reuse them, which means you don't need to use so many of these. But in the winter time, you do need to make sure you've got plenty of these. And another thing, actually, that you'll find is that when you squeegee a window using your squeegee, in the wintertime, you do tend to find that as you move your squeegee across the glass, you do get little traces of water left behind. In the summer, if there are small traces of water left behind, they tend to evaporate rather than forming watermarks. But in the winter, you do find it's difficult to squeegee without little, just very small but widespread water just spread across the glass. And so what you need to do is just make sure you've got very new rubbers. The newer the rubber, the sharper the edge, the less likely that is to happen. So you might go through a few rubbers in the wintertime. But apart from that, I think things are more or less the same.